The cover of Time magazine is very revealing. The Wrecking Crew, got these big wrecking balls with Donald Trump's face on them. How Trump's cabinet is dismantling the government. Now, this is actually an important story, and it may be a well-reported story by Time, but it's not exactly a secret. In fact, the president and his top people brag about this all the time, that they are cutting back on government regulations, they are cutting back on the number of people hired by government, that they're trying to ease, what they would say is ease the regulatory burden on businesses. They think it's great, but there's an implicit assumption in the media that government protects people, that more government is good, that cutting back on government is bad, and that cover image really reflects it. Now, there obviously are instances where particularly federal agencies do important work in ensuring clean water, clean air, safe food, safe airline travel. There's no debate about that. But it is hardly unusual for a Republican administration to take a more pro-business approach, a friendlier approach to corporations, and for Democrats to be more aggressive in the name of environmentalism, safety, health, to overseeing or regulating or restricting what businesses can do. This is true in the financial area as well. But again, it's been one of the signature initiatives of the Trump administration. And so when you look at how the polls break down, I mean, Democrats tend to favor more regulation. Republicans like to have more free market principles and that sort of thing. And so Time looked at certain cabinet members and how they're handling their areas. And it is very easy to say, look, the Trump administration, I remember going through this with the Reagan administration and the second Bush administration. They bring in people from industry. Their argument is the people from industry understand the problems of industry and therefore want to prune back what the EPA does or the FDA does, or you name it. Democratic administrations, Clinton, Obama, tend to bring in people who worked for advocacy groups, or they're professors, or they are pro-regulation, and they look for ways to rein in the worst excesses. And each one has a cost. If you regulate too little, sometimes it leads to abuses. Unsafe coal mines, unsafe chemicals, unsafe food getting into distribution. If you bring in people who go too far in regulating businesses, you can cost jobs. You can create too much paperwork, too many layers of bureaucracy. All of that is true. So it's an important subject that we ought to cover more when we say, what has President Trump done? It's not just what legislation the Hill passes. But at the same time, this wrecking ball analogy suggests, insinuates that anybody who comes in and pares back, let's say the size of government that Barack Obama had, is doing a questionable or a bad thing. Sometimes it's just the way the pendulum swings, and this is what the president ran on. If he goes too far, the voters will have a chance to weigh in on that next year and in 2020.